All right, good morning, everyone. Thanks for taking some time out of your schedule today to attend the RapidLock webinar. This is Chad Berman, Insulation Product Manager here along with Austin Culp, Fleeceback Product Manager. So we're going to walk you through RapidLock a little bit more in depth maybe than some of the presentations you've seen before. We will allow time at the end for questions. If you can please use the question box. We've got everybody muted just to make this a little bit less chaotic. And if you submit those questions, we will address those at the end of the webinar. Shouldn't take the whole hour, probably about a half an hour to get through the content, 20 minutes, and then we'll do questions at the end. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so RapidLock, a fully adhered membrane system that has no VOCs, no temperature restrictions, no odors, and no flash off or string times. In fact, it doesn't have any insulation at all. So what is RapidLock? Well, it's an adhesiveless membrane attachment system powered by Velcro brand securable solutions. So that's a mouthful, but basically, Velcro is a brand, and we're not supposed to say this, but it's basically a Velcro roof. So what does that mean, and how did we do it? Well, Velcro is a brand name for what's called in the industry a hook and loop mechanical attachment. And so what we did is we took the fleeceback membrane and modified that to act as the loop, and we placed a specialized spacer on the top of the polyiso insulation boards to act as the hook. Obviously, when you put these two things together, you have what's called a hook and loop mechanical attachment system. It is a mechanical attachment, unlike all bonding adhesives and low-rise foam, which are chemical attachments, so it is a very different attachment method. What you'll see on the screen right now are the current membrane and insulation options. And so you see the 10 by 150s that in both EPDM and TPO. These are 115 mil fleeceback, meaning 60 mils of membrane. Initially, when announced, we had 10 by 50s available. We've most recently added 10 by 100s, and you can see there, as you would guess, the manufacturing locations for those products, EPDM in Carlisle and TPO in our Senatobia plant. In terms of insulation, we have a 2-inch Insul-Base RL. All products associated with RapidLock obviously have the RL moniker to designate them as such. That 2-inch Insul-Base RL is a standard 20 PSI 4x8, and we are manufacturing that in both Montgomery and Puyallup. In addition, we have a 1/2-inch Secure Shield HDRL, which is our high-density insulating cover board, also 4x8, also manufactured in Montgomery and Puyallup. Incidentally, that 1/2-inch board could not only be used as a cover board with base insulation below, or in a recover application by itself. It could also be used on a parapet wall for attachment of the RapidLock membrane. Showing the stocking locations for those products as well, you have the EPDM at the top in 10 by 50 and 10 by 100, stocked in both Carlisle and our Greenville plants. Additionally, you have the TPO version being stocked in Senatobia, Tooele, and Carlisle. And again, those two insulation products are going to be stocked in the location in which they're manufactured. We do have a note on here. We are generating stocking levels for all of these products. However, based on demand, we just want to sort of temper everybody's expectation in that some delivery times you may experience a 4 to 6 week lead time just due to demand and when these orders come in. Folks obviously will be asking about PVC, and that's a completely different fleece, so we are working on that and hope to have an announcement coming in early 2019. So this is what a typical RapidLock roof system would look like from the deck up. You see our steel deck at the bottom and base insulation, and on top of that you see the Insul-Base polyiso. So We're just checking some technical difficulties. Folks are saying they're not able to hear us. At least one person is saying that. Give us 1 second.
If anybody on the call can hear us speaking, can you please write us a note in the questions thing that you can hear us? We just want to make sure this is a problem amongst the group and not can hear no issues. Okay. Oh, I can hear. Okay. Yeah, but you can hear.
Okay. Sorry about that. We had somebody was having technical difficulty. Want to make sure it was the whole group. So this is the from the deck up, as I was stating. You have base insulation direct to deck, obviously polyiso direct to deck, no problem. That could either be, we're showing that as being screws and plates down through both layers. If you wanted to bury those fasteners, of course you could do that, and then foam that second layer of Insulbase RL if you so choose to do so. You could also, assuming it's not an FM job, you could foam all the insulation layers to the deck. But in this case, we're showing screwing down through both layers of insulation, staggered, of course, as a standard practice, with standard fasteners and plates. So nothing different here. These are our standard fasteners and plates. And then showing the EPDM and TPO RL options being laid in. One of the things you don't see in this photo, or this diagram rather, it's kind of hard to show, is on both of the EPDM and the TPO RL membranes, there is a split release liner. That release liner is a sticky film, similar, if you're familiar with the Appeal. It's a lighter gauge version with less stick, and that's on the back side of the fleece, and it's slit down the length of that membrane. What that allows the applicators to do is get that membrane in place before they're ready to adhere it, quote unquote adhere it, attach it to the Insulbase RL or the Secure Shield HD RL, allows them to position that membrane, peel that release liner off half at a time, or however they choose to do so, and then attach that when ready. So some of the benefits, obviously, of the RapidLock system are being able to install in any temperature. And when we say any temperature, we're talking about a very broad range. We've tested this in our freezer environmental chambers down to -40 with no issues whatsoever. Additionally, because there's no VOCs and no odor, because we've eliminated adhesives in the system, being able to roof an occupied building because of potential smells is a real reality. So when we think about schools and hospitals and offices that may be occupied and working on the weekend isn't the only option, this makes it possible to be able to do that. Obviously, adhesive storage. So in cold months, when you have to have a hot box on the roof or store properly, or use blankets on your low-rise foam to heat them, or a heated rig, RapidLock obviously makes that unnecessary. Obviously, stirring, mixing of adhesives, all the handling that you're accustomed to with adhesives does not exist. Obviously, the wait time when we're waiting for adhesive flash off or string for our 2-part low rise doesn't exist. And then the other one that most folks don't think about until they actually do a RapidLock job is that you have very minimal cleanup at the end of the job. So you don't have the rollers and the pails and all the sort of the mess you have with mixing of adhesives. So in situations where access may be an issue or cleanup may be an issue, disposal of the cleanup, this option is a nice one to consider. So anytime we release a new product, we do a series of trials, and we like to see those trials over a season, a full year and through the seasons. And so over the last 18 months, we've been installing RapidLock projects with contractors throughout the country. And we did time studies. And as you probably realize in the product marketing group, a lot of the new products and enhancements that we're coming out with are focused around the productivity booster or the labor savings sort of genre. So in this case, with RapidLock, we were seeing speed of installations, pretty significant reduction in labor. And on a traditional bareback bonded job, we were seeing an 80%, up to an 80% savings on the rooftop labor associated with the RapidLock. Additionally, we were seeing a 25% labor savings when compared to low-rise urethanes. So pretty significant. Certainly counts as a productivity booster. Some additional benefits pending is FM 1-90 approvals. We've passed the test. It just takes FM quite some time to issue the formal letters and get that in RoofNav. But we have passed that all the way up to a 225 PSF rating in the corner. We do offer the 2-inch hail coverage that's standard with fleeceback membranes, puncture resistance, as you've come to expect. Additionally, and of course, this UL 790 Class A over non-combustible decks. This is a Class A rated system. We will offer up to a 20-year total system warranty with a 90-mile-an-hour peak gust wind speed. And we do have an exclusivity with Velcro on this product. Additionally, we've applied for additional intellectual property around some of the other processes and enhancements that we've added to the system along the way. So we're very protected in terms of CCM having exclusivity, and right now Carlisle is the only brand that has access to this product. So I wanted to share with you some of the comments that we received over the last 18 months of trials and with folks being exposed to this system. And they're just going to come up on the screen. The first of which was at the IRE this year, Carlisle did win Best Commercial Product for RapidLock. So we're very excited about that. We just received, it's hard to sort through some of this stuff, we just did receive another publication that we had submitted to. We also received Product of the Year, and I believe that was called Roofing Contractor Magazine. I'm not sure which association that's affiliated with, but we did win Product of the Year for that one as well. So you can see some of the comments. Some of them are quite comical, but the applicator response, you know, the one thing at the end of every one of these trial jobs people said was, I can't believe how fast this goes down. They were just absolutely blown away by how quick you could lay a sheet in and how fast a crew could move. One of the comments that came out of IRE, one of the applicators pulled Steve Schwarr aside and said, look, I run 2 six-man crews, and with this system, I can probably run 3 4-man crews using the same guys. So basically, I can increase my labor capacity by 50% on the roof with something like this. So pretty dramatic, pretty incredible comments. I wish we would have had a GoPro camera at IRE because it was a bit like Candid Camera. Folks, when we handed them a set, and they couldn't quite believe what they were seeing. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Austin, and he is going to run through the remainder of the slides, and then we'll come back with questions.
Good morning, everyone. Going over marketing collateral. So right now on the website, if you've been searching, you should see product data sheets for all EPDM, TPO, and insulation products. There was also a system sheet that is available on the website right now as well. And that kind of goes into some more detail from an application standpoint, warranty offering, and some additional information in regards to the RapidLock system. Some new or coming soon items. So this is going to be a spec attachment that is in the fleeceback section. That spec is available now. It is either up on the website today or will be by the end of the week. I just talked with that group yesterday, and they were just finalizing a few items. Look out for that to be available before the end of this week on the website. There is a RapidLock presentation that is available on the website. It is a portion of the presentation that we are giving today. That presentation also includes a short installation video that was also used at ESP this year and just helps promote the system and how quickly it is to put down. So I encourage you to jump on the Syntec website. You must be logged in to access that presentation, and as of right now, it is only available for reps and Carlisle staff. If you have any customers, distribution that want access to that, we will need to, you can either send them the presentation or we would have to grant them access on the website. But that is available right now for all reps and Carlisle staff. Details are also available right now on the website. We did not redo every single fleeceback detail for the RapidLock system, but there are a handful of details that had there was a change or a slight difference in that application technique. So you can find those on the website right now. They will be identified. They have the RL moniker on the bottom right-hand corner. So all details on the website that are associated with RapidLock, you will see that RL. If you run across a detail that you do not see the RL moniker for, and you have a question on that, you can reference back to the fleeceback details for everything else that we have not specified that there's a specific RL detail for. We're always open to suggestions. So if you do run into a situation that you feel that we do not have a detail for, and that you feel the fleeceback detail is not going to work, please let us know. We can work through those situations, have that discussion, and address those concerns. The CCS team here internally is working on a landing page that they will be putting on the website. This page will be special just for the RapidLock system and will house quick links to a lot of the items that we're talking about. So quick links to the product data sheets, the details, the spec attachment, presentations, etc. So look for that to come here in the next month or so, but just trying to make a quick access point for you to be able to jump onto that landing page and quickly find the items that you need specifically as they associate with RapidLock. And then a installation video. We are working on a longer version of the installation video, and then some additional time study videos. So we have a couple projects coming up that we're going to be getting out on to do some time trials, and specifically side by side with some of the other systems that we have, whether that's fully adhered or even up against a traditional fleeceback system. So look for those to be coming out later this summer. We'll keep everyone updated as to when those are available and make sure that we're communicating with the field on those items. So we get a lot of questions on product positioning, product pricing, and how really this system stacks up against other systems internally. So from a pricing standpoint, if you would look at our traditional pricing for insulation, we are taking our insulation price and then we're adding a 70-cent a square foot adder on top of that price. And that's how we get the RapidLock insulation pricing as it stands today. So think about that. We're removing all the adhesive from this system. We have to go in our process and then add the hooks to the facer of that insulation. So that is what's associating that 70-cent adder on the insulation side. On the membrane side, it is the traditional fleeceback pricing, and there's a 15-cent a square foot adder on that. Now that adder is already added into the membrane pricing. So as you're working with the pricing team, it's not something that they're going to add on the back end. They're already including that 15 cents. But if you're looking at it from a side-by-side standpoint, there's a 15-cent adder. And we get a lot of questions, so why is that adder there? Well, this is a brand new fleece. This is a completely optimized, different fleece than we've ever used before that can only be used in this system. We also have some different manufacturing issues that arise when using this, and we're also adding that release liner to the product. So that adder there is to cover all of those changes that we've made to the fleeceback system. One thing that I do want to bring up when talking about the optimized fleece is that the RapidLock fleece cannot be used with two-part low-rise foam. So that's our fast products, fast or flex, and or any other two-part foams that are in the industry right now. Same on the standard fleeceback side. Our standard fleeceback product cannot be used with the hooks that are on the RapidLock hooks that are on our insulation. It's why we had to optimize the fleece. The engagement just was not there when we tried to use the standard fleece with the hooks. Just want to make that known that there cannot be crossover between the two systems. It just will not work properly in the field, and you will see failures if they try to use fleece in the wrong opportunities there. So taking a kind of product positioning look, this system, when looking at the system as a whole, is priced very reasonable when looking at our traditional fleece back system. So right now, if you're looking at a EPDM system with dual tanks at 4-inch on center application, it's going to be somewhere around $1.75 a square foot when looking at the EPDM fleece and the adhesives together. That RapidLock system is going to be somewhere around $1.80 a square foot. So when we're looking at this as a system price, it's very comparable to that of our fleece back systems. So just mainly a point to note, as you're talking through this with customers and talking about pricing and how it positions, just to give you guys a little bit of ammunition kind of on how the RapidLock system stacks up against our traditional fleece back products from a pricing standpoint. So talking through the components of this system, you're going to have your fleece back RapidLock EPDM and/or TPO membrane. You're going to have one of your insulation products, whether that's Insul Base or Secure Shield. And then we're going to have our insulation fastening plates. Now, you can choose not to use insulation fastening plates and adhering the insulation down with fast or flexible fast. But traditionally, if we're looking at this system as a no VOC, no adhesive, no temperature restriction system, that's where the insulation fastening plates come into play. So for installation, as Chad had mentioned, we did pass our FM 1-90 approvals. In the field, you're going to look at 8 fasteners and plates per 4x8 RapidLock board. That is for the 2-inch thick product. Our perimeter, we're looking at 20 plates and fasteners on that 4x8 RapidLock board, and then in the corners, and again, this is only if we're trying to achieve that FM 1-90 rating, you're going to use 32 fasteners and plates per 4x8 board, but you're going to need to bury those plates and fasteners and then put the RapidLock board down over top of the plates and fasteners with a flexible fast 6-inch bead per 4x8 board. So what we saw initially when we did some testing was that we're relying on the engagement of that hook and loop. And when we get up to the 32 plates and fasteners per board, we're limiting that engagement to a point where we were not achieving the uplift ratings that we needed to get to that FM 1-90. So that's why we need to bury those fasteners and plates and adhere that top board when we need to achieve that FM 1-90 rating.
Yeah, and just a note on that, because I know this can be a little confusing. So in the field, eight fasteners for a 4x8 for a 2-inch thick board, pretty common. These additional perimeter and corner, perimeter is a 150 PSF, corner at 225. So it would only be if you need those enhancements to those levels that you'd have to prescribe these different fastener ratings and then also burying in the corners. We are looking at some other ways to be able to achieve that corner pressure, whether it be through other products or thicker insulation. So stay tuned on that. We're doing some work on it. But again, you won't always need to, on an FM 190 spec, have that kind of perimeter and corner enhancement. It is available to you if you need it.
So next we'll walk through some quick photos just to show you the typical application of this. Again, we do have a video that is in that presentation on the website that shows this in greater detail. But just to quickly walk through this. So this is a project that was down in Richmond, Virginia. Here they're just installing the insulation plates and fasteners, per any system that we're going to do that on. The next, and this is very important, we want to see that system either broomed and or backpack blowers. Any large debris we want to see removed from the top of that insulation. Like we would with any adhered system, this system sucks down very tight, as you'll see here in a slide later on, and any pieces that are underneath that, you're going to see those protrude through that sheet. Also, any large pieces are also, just like the fasteners and plates would, when we get too many on the system, will reduce that fastening or that engagement between the hook and the loop. So it's very important that they're cleaning that system off prior to applying the membrane. Positioning the sheet, this is why we put the quick release liner on the back side of the membrane. Early on, what we saw during applications when we did not have that quick release liner was that the engagement of the hook and loop is that severe that when it touches, it's pretty much stuck. Now, if you have small engagement areas, you can peel them back up carefully. But when you're talking about a 50-foot or 100-foot sheet, when you engage a large section, you're no longer going to be able to move that sheet around. So that quick release sheet is there to help the end user position that sheet properly before engaging the hook and the loop. Removal of the release liner. That release liner, it's very similar to what we use on the appeal side, but slightly different at the same time. The adhesion level is enough to keep it in place while they're positioning the sheet, but light enough that they should be easily able to remove that release liner with one person. It is split down the middle to help them with ease of application. And as you can see here on the screen, they're using the barn door method to remove that split release liner. We've seen guys try the same they do with SAT, where they try to wing that out from underneath the sheet. That works as well, and we assume that guys are going to try to figure out their own ways and their quickest way to do this. So there are multiple ways to remove that release liner and get your sheet into place, but that release liner does allow for them to position that sheet very easily. And then the last thing for this application process is, they need to broom and they need to roll the sheet with our 150-pound segmented weighted roller. And that's just to make sure that we're infusing or engaging that hook and loop in the system. And the next slide here, as you'll see, for a finished product, this was a system out in Colorado. This photo was taken on day 2. One of the really fantastic things about this system is that as the membrane is up there and is allowed to heat up and cool down, the expansion and contraction of that system actually engages that hook and loop even more. So what we've found from initial testing is that these systems actually gain some strength over time, which is a very interesting thing that we don't really see with some of our other systems when you're talking about bonded or mechanically fastened systems. So we'll take some questions. We have a lot of questions here to work through. So work with us here as we, Chad and I, start reading through these, and then we'll answer as many as we can. We have plenty of time to, I think, answer all the questions that we have here. A lot of good ones too. So Chad, you're probably first up here, if you want to.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how to expand this here. So the question is there plans to produce a 2.5 Insel base RL 20 PSI for new construction R30 codes by where contractor install one layer of standard 20 PSI, then a 2.6. So yeah, great question. We have been asked for 2.6. That is on the short list of new products to add. As with any new product launch, to build inventory and get the plants all ready to go for these things. We didn't want to inundate them with 100 or 1,000 different. In the ISO world, we've got probably more SKUs than all other products combined because we sell every 1/10 of an inch from 0.5 to 4.5 with various spacers, etc. But yes, 2.6 is a great question, and that is on the short list for products to be added based on R value requirements. Great question. Thank you.
Next question, again, is another insulation question. They're asking, are we going to produce 4x4 foot boards with the RL product?
So that's a good question as well. So all the insulation products now are 4x8s. Don't put it on here though. All the products now are 4x8s. And the process is somewhat manual. So there's a lot of simultaneous efforts going on in terms of being able to produce these products more efficiently. as demand dictates. So in the future, yes, 4x4, I'm well aware of the fact that mostly in Florida and in some other parts of the country, 4x4s are required, especially for adhering to concrete decks. So we are working on that. That one will take a little bit longer. I would anticipate, just to set the expectation properly, it may be towards the end of the year, beginning of 2019, until we have 4x4 products, but it is something we're working on. Are we planning on stocking the 2-inch and 1/2-inch material in Carlisle at some point, or possibly any other ISO plant? So currently, I probably don't have to explain to most of you that moving ISO is like moving air around the country, and with current freight issues, we want to touch this stuff as few times as possible. So currently, it will ship out of Montgomery and Puyallup because we make it there and we store it there. That's not to say that down the road, based on demand levels and freight lanes and all other things considered, that we may not, or we may pick some other locations to inventory. But currently, we are planning on shipping out of the plant in which it's manufactured. Now, with that said, it's the ultimate goal of being able to manufacture this in all 7 plants. So that would kind of solve some of those problems. It's just there's some time it's going to take to do that, probably again till the end of this year, beginning of 2019.
Next question is regarding the release liner on the back of the membrane. And the question is that recyclable? It is, but it depends on the municipality. So it's something that they're just going to have to check locally on to see if the local municipality will allow that product to be recycled. So yes, but maybe no, depending on where you are located. Next question is about samples that have been received, and that there was some delamination on a couple of the samples. So what you were seeing early on, and I think we've fixed the situation recently, was some of the early samples that were created, there was a slight overlap in the middle of the board when we applied the hook on our line. Some of those were cut up and made into samples. They were supposed to be caught before they went to the field, but a few did make their way into the field. We've eliminated that problem from the samples moving forward. So any samples that you get here on out, you should not see any overlap or what seems to be a delamination of that hook to the insulation. Next question is regarding the expansion and contraction of EPDM when installed in very cold temperatures, and then the temperature starts rising. So no, we do not have any concerns about the expansion and contraction of this system when installed in cold weather, and then when it starts to heat up. We have multiple test projects down that have gone down in cold weather that have gone through 2 cycles at a minimum of heat and cool. That fleece operates as basically an expansion joint and does very well in doing so. And then the hooks also help with that expansion and contraction as well. So no issues, or I should say no concerns on our end regarding expansion and contraction of the system.
Question here concerning when do we anticipate having the full approvals on our RL system? Again, FM can take, in our experience, anywhere from 6 to 9 months to issue the roof nav number. We've never let that stop us or hold us back from introducing new products. In situations where an FM insured job, you have a person that's requiring a letter or an approval, our codes group has always been able to obtain that. So I would not let the formal roof nav number or issuance of the letter. We have passed all those approvals and we are good to go up to a 1-90. So I would proceed. We'll deal with it on our end.
Next,
go ahead.
We had a question here regarding the presentation on the website that only has 1 slide. What you're seeing there is when they load those presentations on the website, they have to create a PDF, basically title page. So you're not going to be able to flip through the presentation on the website without downloading the PowerPoint file off of the web. So you must download the PowerPoint to be able to flip through the presentation. If you're still seeing issues with that, just reach out to me on the side, and we can talk through that.
Question regarding can the hooks be damaged due to foot traffic on the roof, on the insulation board? That's a good question. One of the things, if you haven't seen this, and we do have, I should be careful saying this, I'm pretty sure we have samples in stock. As soon as we get literally hundreds, I think our typical order for us is about 500 or 600 samples. We went through 600 samples at IRE. We've been having trouble keeping samples in stock. But if you haven't seen the product, the hooks are very, very fine in terms of if I handed you a polyiso board with the RapidLock hook on it, at first glance you would just think it's a coated glass facer. You probably wouldn't think anything different. Once you touch it, though, you can start to feel those. There are many, many hooks per inch. And so when a foot or any kind of general construction traffic, a cart or anything else gets rolled over these, you may be standing on literally thousands of hooks at a time. So the weight is dissipated as such that none of those hooks are damaged. So they're very robust, other than being clogged up with construction debris, which is why we require blowing the roof off or brooming the roof off for any debris. There's no damage to the hooks on the job site.
Next question is any restrictions on insulation plates used?
Now, you're going to use your standard plate. You could use the Secure Fast plate if you wanted. I'm not sure why you would necessarily want to do that. If you had some, you could. It's only going to give you better performance. That's the one that we have that we use to achieve the reduced fastening patterns on the USG products. But the InsulFast plate and standard screw are all that you'd use. We did all this testing with standard plates. We didn't want to require folks to use a different plate or a plate with adhesive hooks or anything like that on it. We wanted to keep it simple.
Next question is regarding the release liner and what is the best way to remove that. So that's kind of a trick question because every contractor that we've used this system from a trial product standpoint has done stuff a little bit differently. We've always suggested the barn door method just because we think that is, to me, is the easiest way to do it. May not be the quickest way, but it seems to be the easiest way to remove. Others have pulled it out from underneath, kind of like a splice tape. So again, I think it's going to be comfort level of the contractors once they get used to the system and trying to start to speed up a little bit. It's going to be a comfort level situation for them. One question here on, does this membrane come with 3-inch fat? Yes, it does. EPDM comes with the 3-inch factory applied tape. TPO, the salvage edge is standard to what our current fleece pack system is.
So there's a question regarding that 225 pressure rating in the corner for an FM1-90 approval and whether there's a way to do it without having to bury the plates. One suggestion specifically being applying a hook to the plate itself. A couple problems there I won't get into. Actually doing that, obviously it forces applicators to have yet another SKU in stock and have on the job. We'll be tackling that in some other ways. We've got some other ideas there, and we'll likely be able to tackle that a more efficient and easier way. However, it is important to keep in mind that it's pretty rare that you need those kind of pressures in the corner. Just, we're trying to cover everything, but just be aware that you're not always going to need that.
Here's a good question on how to start the end of the sheet. This is going, what is the best way? Should they anchor it? Yeah, so traditionally what we see the guys do is they'll position that sheet, they'll fold it over, and then they'll remove maybe like the first 2 feet, 3 feet of the sheet and just kind of tack the edge down. That way it can't blow or move around. So we have seen guys tack the sheet, or anchor the sheet at the beginning of the sheet once they have it positioned and in place. Not everyone does that, but some do that, specifically if it's extremely windy.
There's a couple of questions regarding moisture, air barriers, et cetera. So I guess the short answer to sort of roll all these questions together is if you had specified an air barrier in this roof system, that wouldn't change. Just because we have a different attachment method, we still want to keep all of these roofing materials dry. So if we've got a condition where you could have moisture generated from within the building getting up into the roof system and causing problems, please continue to use the air barrier as you would. The system, I would say, is no more or less immune to moisture that's generated within a building. So I would operate under that premise. Additionally, we are calling this an adhered system, an adhered membrane system, fully adhered, because we do have 100% attachment of the substrate to the. That's come up a couple times. Is this considered adhered or attached? And the answer is yes.
Next question we have is there any concern of heat load from a black EPDM membrane drying out the hooks over time?
So the question really there becomes melt point, and the melt point of the polypropylene hooks that we're using on the facer are much higher than anything you'll experience on the roof. In fact, one of the things that we test within our process is bundle cure of polyiso, and those bundle cure temperatures exceed what is already happening on the roof. So that's all baked in, no pun intended. But the melt point of that polypropylene is much higher than what will be experienced in the environment.
Next question is regarding puncture resistance, and does the hook add any additional benefit? While we've seen the hook adds us some additional benefit with the insulation board, at least basically is adding a second facer, it does not add anything from a puncture resistance to that system. All of our puncture resistance is gained through the membrane and the fleece adder on the back. So the hook is not adding any additional puncture resistance to that system over what the standard puncture resistance of a typical fleece system is. Yeah, what detail is used at the end of the roll before you start the next roll? So same as we do with a traditional fleece back system, we're going to butt those rolls together, and then we're going to use a flashing membrane to flash off the end of the roll for that next start. So same as our traditional system, no differences in how we apply this fleece system versus a traditional fleece system.
There's a question regarding splitters and whether this is more prone or less prone to splitters. So we have several tests in-house, one that I believe is an ASTM standard and one that we developed ourselves. We've run through that. We've run through those tests as we would with any other fleece back or bareback system, and no indications at all. Took that well over the limit. No indications at all that this would increase any splitters, the likelihood of splitters, I should say. And another question about the foot traffic. Again, you know, if it's an area for staging or loading, you want to protect that as you would with any insulation. You don't have to take extra precautions with any of the InsulBase RL or Secure Shield HD RL, but it is insulation at the end of the day. So if it's gonna harm the insulation facer due to foot traffic or loading of the roof, please protect it as you normally would.
I have a question on adhering the insulation boards with fast and beads. Yes, you can adhere these insulation boards with fast products. Of course, you're not going to want to put adhesive on the hook side of the insulation, but this insulation is going to act like any other insulation as far as either mechanically fastening it and or adhering it with fast products.
Question about Canadian CSA 123.21 uplift testing. We have completed, what is it, Austin, about 8 to 10 different systems. I would recommend that you get in touch with your rep in your territory in Canada. We have had several meetings on that, and quite a bit of testing has been done. We do have approvals.
There's a question here on long-term performance of these types of systems. So the longest standing roof to date is around 6 or 7 years old, and that is actually up on the Velcro facility up in the Northeast.
Yeah, I think it's closer to 10. I'll just jump in because I've been on that roof. I think it's closer to 10 years. It's in Manchester, New Hampshire, so get to see quite a bit of temperature swing and 4 seasons, obviously. There's been some pool tests done on that roof after the fact, and what you find with the RapidLock system is that over time it actually gets better and better. So unlike and don't mean to imply that a chemical bond can break down over time, but it certainly has the potential to do so. With a mechanical bond, when you employ gravity and expansion and contraction of the roof, it actually helps to bed the hooks and the loops in further and further. Additionally, foot traffic and other things that weight on the roof is just so long-term performance is something at this point we're not majorly concerned about, just because it's a very different bond than is typical. There's a question about cover boards. I'm just trying to decipher this. So if you had, I think the question is if there's a cover board and they're specifically listing a gypsum cover board. So yeah, you could place a cover board in the system. Obviously, the Secure Shield HD, you can bond the RapidLock membranes to. If you had, let's say, a cover board requirement on the deck itself, that's fine. It could just be part of the assembly. Insulation then above, RL, obviously as your top layer to be able to attach to. At this point, we don't have any options for a gypsum cover board with RapidLock on it. Potentially in the future, that's a possibility. I'll never say never. Obviously, the Secure Shield HD is going to give you that cover board performance with a little insulating value as well at a lighter weight alternative. Sorry, I had to get that pitch in there.
Next question is maximum height restrictions with RapidLock on a wall when using the 1/2-inch Secure Shield product. So we view, again, this RapidLock system as a fully adhered system. So same as with our fully adhered systems, our same height restrictions would come into play here if we were using like a cav grip or a bonding adhesive. So same restrictions are in play, which are pretty limited. So no, we feel very strongly that the engagement between the hook and that loop is pretty secure, that we should not have any issues on that wall attachment.
Yeah, and it probably goes, I don't see a specific question, but we probably didn't mention this, Austin, on the wall. That 1/2-inch product was brought on as an option for the wall, but obviously you're more than welcome to use fleece back up the wall. You can switch to bareback and go up the wall that way, and use any of the bonding mechanisms for that as well.
Yeah, there's multiple details on the website for wall attachment. We have approved either using the 1/2-inch HD and using the RapidLock system to go up that wall. You can go up continuously with the sheet. You can stop at the edge of the wall using the RapidLock to go up with cav grip, or you could switch over to bareback with cav grip as well. One thing that I don't think we outlined in this is we do require angle chain securement with the RapidLock system, and those details are also available on the website.
It looks like one more here. Great question. I believe it's an FSR that's asking, has FSRs been trained on this system? And the answer is absolutely yes. We had a series of 4 FSR trainings in Q1 of this year in our new training center here at Carlisle. And we demoed this product along with about 6 other new products that we released this year. So this is a big product release year for Carlisle. We're very excited that we feel like this product, as well as many of the other new products, as well as enhancements, serve to differentiate Carlisle in the marketplace. And hopefully you'll be able to utilize that differentiation to capture some sales. So I believe that is all the questions, and I think we probably just set a record for questions, which is awesome. We love questions. So thank you very much for taking the time to submit those. I will mention again that this webinar is being recorded. We will make this available on the website as we have made available the other collateral for RapidLock. And as always, if you have any additional questions or anything specific and you'd like to reach out to myself or Austin, please don't hesitate to do so. So I think that wraps up the webinar for today. Thank you very much, and have a great rest of the week. Thank you.